Hi guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Soph. This is Sophie. I'm so excited for you guys to be listening in on this episode. I have a really exciting guest. This is Cali Cho, or known as Cali Cho Photography. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Callie a few years ago when I went to San Diego, and her husband Moses modeled for me really last minute actually. I was in desperate need of a couple and I messaged them and I was like, I know this is so last minute, but please, like, if you're available. And sure enough, they were. So we got to do a really fun session on the beach, on the cliffs. I just genuinely think about that session all the time. And Callie and I talk all the time about how I need to come back to California. So, Callie, I thought that maybe we could start with just a little bit of an introduction. So, who you are, what you do, where you're based, kind of just the why behind your business, and just tell us everything.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
I
I
know,
love
me too.
you and excited about this
I love
podcast.
you too. I love you
You
more.
do need to come back to San Diego because
I know.
that was so much fun when you were here.
It
So,
really it really
San
was.
Diego trip in the future for sure.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I'm Callie. I am a San Diego based photographer. I specialize in couple shoots. I love cinematic storytelling, documentary, all
She's
that fun
amazing,
stuff.
guys. She's amazing. You're gonna have to go follow her.
You're so
If you
sweet.
don't
So are
if
you.
you don't already, you need to go follow her.
Thank you. But yeah, I've been doing it for about almost, I guess, 7 years now, which is crazy. I
Wow.
feel like the time just goes by so fast. But yeah, 7 years. I kind of got started kind of unexpectedly. I never like thought I would be a photographer. That was never like something
Mhm.
that I was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be
Yeah.
a photographer. But
Yeah.
my parents like always like have encouraged like me. I have four younger sisters, but we all were like always a very creative childhood. Like it was
Mhm.
always just
Yep.
like,
Me too, yeah.
outside doing art
Mhm.
stuff. So always been like very like creative, inspired, influenced.
Mhm.
But when I like graduated, I kind of just was like, I don't really know what I want to do, and like kind of was just trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go career wise. And I was just taking classes at community college actually, because I just
Yeah.
didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was just doing like my
Mhm.
general ed. And my husband Moses, we were dating at the time, and we would always take like an art class every semester together, just
Yo,
for
that's
like
fun.
that was
Yeah.
like our fun class.
Yeah,
And it was for like
absolutely.
credit and stuff. But one of
Mhm.
the semesters we took a photography class together,
That's so
and we
fun.
were like, oh, this is like really fun. And I've always like enjoyed like, now digicams are all back in style, but when I
Oh
was a
yeah,
kid,
totally.
me and my sisters would like do little photo shoots with like the
Me,
digicam and stuff.
literally. Oh yeah, I was right there. I was just by myself. Like, I didn't have younger sisters. It was just me and
Love that.
my little kid cameras, and I would take pictures
Yes.
of like just everything.
Yes, literally like set up like our toys and stuff like they're like models, like those like little horse like figurines like that you like get as a kid. You like set them in the grass and like make little scenes like we're like photographing.
And you didn't know what you were gonna be when you grew up.
No,
That
I
was
know.
the
I should have
foreshadowing.
known in that moment that that was my future. But
Yep,
yeah,
totally.
I mean, always loved doing like stuff like that, but took that photo class and that kind of like really was like, oh, like I actually really love this. Like
Mhm.
I did really well in the class and like the professor was like, "Hey, you should continue like doing photography
Mhm.
stuff like after this.
Yep.
Like you definitely have like an eye for it." And I was like, "Okay, like maybe that's something that I could like try out as like a career. I don't know, like give it
That
a
could be
shot."
fun. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going any direction right now, like specifically, so why not try it out? And so I literally just bought my first camera like right after that semester, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like give it a shot.
Dive
I have
in. Yeah.
no idea what I was doing, like other than like, in the photography class, they teach you more like technical stuff and like a
Mhm.
little bit
Yeah.
of like Lightroom, Photoshop, but like it's not teaching you how to like
Not like
post
client
people.
relationships and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I was like, okay, I literally have no idea like what I'm gonna do, but I
Mhm.
had friends that were like getting engaged during that time, and so they were like, "Do you want to take our pictures?" And I was like, "Sure."
Well,
I don't know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
doing, but sure. And I'm so thankful that they like gave me that opportunity and like let me
Totally, yeah.
basically learn just by like
Mhm.
shooting with them. So yeah, I just kind of like hopped into kind of doing some shoots for them, and then like obviously some of them were getting married, so like they were like, "Hey, do you want to like shoot our wedding. And when I
Hmm.
started photography, I was like, I am not doing weddings because I was just so scared of doing weddings. I was like, I
They're
can't.
quite scary.
I'm like, I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna miss something. Like,
Hmm.
I'm still learning. Like, I don't really know how to like pose people on their wedding day or like what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But thankfully I had a friend, I was working like at a restaurant at the time, and
Hmm.
shout out to Mariah Fortune Photography. She was also working there. And she like
Shout out
kind of,
Mariah.
yes, Mariah. I love her. She's like so sweet and she's amazing. But she kind of let me second shoot for her one of her weddings, and that was like really helpful for me because I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I got to like help
Yeah.
her and kind of see how like the wedding day like flowed, and
Hmm.
that was like cool. And then I just kind of jumped into doing a couple weddings like for friends and stuff, and they went well, and like they were super sweet and fun, and like
Yeah.
I enjoyed like doing that for friends. But I think over the years I just was like, weddings are not so much my style. I love doing more of just like the sessions and like, you know,
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
the creative, yeah, the fun. I loved the wedding days, loved all the wedding couples that I got to work with, but I think just weddings themselves were just a little too much pressure, which I kind of knew
Yeah.
from the start. But
They're a lot of they're just a, there's it's a lot of it's a big load to carry, and when
hmm
you're doing that times 10 to 20 weddings a year, I think that can be a lot,
yeah.
and that's a big reason that I don't really do them. I'll do intimate weddings or like
hmm
micro weddings, elopements, but the big wedding days, I learned that just they were not something that I knew that I wanted to continue to just like take on, so I'm
Yeah.
right there with you. So
Totally. And I know there's so many photographers that just they're amazing at weddings. Like they thrive in that environment under that like
mhm,
pressure, and like they
totally.
create such amazing art, and I'm like, I don't know how they can do that because my brain on a wedding day, like when I shot weddings, I was like, I'm trying to be creative, but I'm also trying to like make sure I'm like staying on time plus not missing things, and I'm like, I think this is a little just too much for me. So
They're very stressful. They're very stressful. The
it's a lot.
timelines, the things. I think that, if you guys don't know or follow her, which you should go follow her. She has a very cinematic storytelling, nostalgic kind of vibe, and I have followed you for so many years now, and I just you it truly have inspired me so much to kind of jump into that style as well. Um
Oh,
because the
thanks.
way that you approach a session, the way that you just like the way that you see like the whole thing as a scene, as like it's like a movie,
hmm
I think is really special, and I really just truly have been so inspired by you. And so I thought that talking to you kind of about storytelling and how you approach that during a session could be really fun.
Yeah.
And just kind of like give me all the details about like sessions for you, how you kind of direct your couples, and just all the things about storytelling.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of like storytelling on the session day kind of starts with the prep beforehand.
Hmm.
Like just setting the client expectation, kind of like telling them like here's kind of what you can expect when you show up. Here's like how the session's going to flow, because they've never, or most people have never
Yeah, they've
done
never done it
photos
before. Yeah.
before. Yeah. A lot of times my sessions are engagement shoots or whatever. So it's like, this is like the first big thing that they're doing, and so they're
Absolutely.
getting
Yeah.
their engagement photos and they're excited, like they're in love, like they're in that fun season of
You're in
life,
that
and
really
like
happy stage. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like just kind of pulling from that, and then just yeah, when I'm like getting ready for the session beforehand, kind of just asking them questions about like how did they meet, what do they love to do together, like who are they extroverted, are they introverted, just getting to know
Yeah.
them a little bit so
Absolutely.
that when we're showing up on the day of the session, it's not just like, hi, I'm Callie, I know nothing about you, you know nothing about me,
We
like
have
let's
no connection. We
do.
have no relationship.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. So I think just building a little bit of that relationship and just kind of getting to
Mhm.
know them a little bit beforehand so that when you show up on the day of the shoot, you're not just kind of building everything from scratch. You already kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
They also feel, obviously, everyone feels nervous when they get to a shoot. Like,
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
totally natural. But then
Even
they
I'm
feel a little
nervous
bit,
going to my shoots. Yeah.
literally, yeah. No, I think that, and that's like a healthy, like, nerves, like everyone's just like,
Totally. Yeah.
it's
You're
excitement,
excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think just having them like kind of knowing a little bit like what to expect beforehand
Mhm.
definitely helps them feel a little bit less nervous because like
They
you're
know
not
what
just
they're
showing up.
walking into. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's sometimes they feel so pressured. Like I have a lot of people that when they reach out, they're like, we don't know how to pose. Like you're going to have to tell us how to pose. And I'm like, of
Oh
course I'm
yeah.
going to help you. Like, don't worry about that. Like, I think some people go into shoots thinking like, oh, I have to have a list of poses. I have to have my Pinterest board and recreate all of these. Like, I'm going to be there to help direct you. Like,
Mhm.
hopefully, like you feel comfortable. I hope I can create a space that you feel comfortable enough to be yourselves and to act
Yeah.
naturally, but
Exactly.
not like feel like you have to have a list of poses that we recreate. So I
Mhm.
think just like kind of reassuring them before they even show up. I have like a little session guide. This is a newer thing that I've been doing this year, but I have like a session guide that I created just kind of like saying like what to expect, like
Mhm.
how they could best prepare, like if they want to incorporate any props or activities that might be meaningful to them, or like picking a location that maybe kind of speaks to them a little bit more, whether
Mhm.
it's
Totally.
something that is kind of pertaining to their relationship or as part of their story, or it's just somewhere that they like love that feels like beautiful to them, that they feel
Mhm.
comfortable in.
Yeah.
All of those things, even the time of day like that we're shooting, like whether it's morning or midday or afternoon or sunset, like all of those things add to the story. And so I think just as much as you can pull beforehand before you even get to the shoot, that's going to set you up for success for sure. Because
Oh yeah,
they're going to feel a
absolutely.
lot more comfortable. You're going to feel like, okay, we kind of talked through. I know them a little bit. I have some talking points so that when we're at the shoot, I can be like, oh, yeah, so you told me like this is how you met, or like tell me more
Totally.
about that.
You can have that
Um,
connection there where you're not like, it's like, so like what's your name? how
exactly.
how old are you? It's like an interrogation where you're like, trying to learn all those things on top
Yes.
of shooting as well, which can be a lot. And I think for clients, it's really important for them to be as comfortable as possible showing up to the session and having that
Hmm.
true expectation of like, well, they've already walked me through every single thing that's gonna essentially happen. Not, of course, like, posing and prompting, but just like who I am, because I'm a stranger, of course. And I think that even though we have online presence through our photos, that's our photos, that's not really us. So having that
Hmm.
time to either communicate via email or even hopping on a call. Like sometimes I'll have couples who want to just hop on a call and we can chat through, their session and the things. And I think that is really important to build that connection before you even start to document their connection and their, story. Because how can I document you if I don't even like really even know you? Which I
A
think,
hundred percent.
starting off with at least something, helps that build a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I think you said it spot on. Like for both of you guys to feel more comfortable and therefore get more natural storytelling photos, you have to kind of set the space before you even start the
Yeah.
session. And then, yeah, being able to show up and kind of set people at ease because obviously there's nerves. And yeah, like you said, like we have nerves even as photographers. Like it's still like, even after doing
All
it
of
for
it's so
7 years.
nerve-wracking, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
still
still
get
gonna get
nervous
nervous
too.
before every session. I'm like, why am I so nervous? Like I'm 5 years, I'm 5 years in. Like we've got
Literally
this.
me. But like it's a good thing because you're wanting to give them the best experience. You want to make them
Yeah,
comfortable. You want to get great photos for them. That's like I think the place that the nerves are coming from is like you
totally.
just
Yeah.
want it to be a good
Making
experience.
sure you meet that expectation and that
Hmm.
everybody leaves the session being like, this was so awesome, and not like, oh my god, she's a total weirdo. I hate her.
Well,
Because
I feel
that's
like
the
people
concern.
sometimes might think that about me because sometimes I get in the car after the shoot and I was like, what was I saying? Like,
Why
how
did
was
I
I
say that?
standing when I was
Why did
shooting? Like,
You know what? My biggest thing is I will never think too hard about what I looked like during a session because I don't even want to know. And sometimes
that's
I've
okay.
stopped getting behind the scenes of me shooting because I in the past I've looked back at them and I've been like, that's never seeing the light of day.
Yep.
That's actually horrific. Please burn my eyeballs. I don't. And I'm
That's
like, they
really
saw
real.
that. They actually saw that.
I am always like laughing because I'm like, oh, they're the ones worried about being awkward. I'm like, trust me, guys, the most awkward, weird person at this shoot is me, not you.
You guys
Don't
look
worry
great.
about it.
You're doing great. You know when
Yeah,
it gets
you look
you're
great.
really into a session and it's like kind of hot out and you just throw your hair up into some messy like it's just a mess
Yep,
and
the
then you
clockwork.
get to the session and you look in the mirror after and you like your hair's like everywhere and they still look like supermodels. I feel like that's a really humbling experience.
It really is. I'm always just
It's
like, how did this happen?
how did I end up looking like this post session? And then
Literally.
they had to look at me. Yeah.
I
I
know.
um I think that something I think as humans that we do is we really spend a lot of times thinking this is going to sound a certain way, but like we spend a lot of time thinking about ourselves, what we look like, how others
Mhm,
are perceiving us. And I know that going into a session, getting photos done, like that is so heightened for that
mhm,
emotion. And it's like I know how nerve-wracking it can be, and even when you're there, wondering if, your things look good and you
mhm.
look good and your hair's right and your dress is not like sticking out weirdly or whatever the thing is, and I know having that expectation set ahead of time, like, I've
Yeah,
got you. I'm gonna be your biggest hype girl. Like, I'm gonna make sure that your hair doesn't look funky. I'm going to make sure you don't have a double chin. Like, I'm going to be looking for these things. So I don't
mhm,
want you to worry about them. I just want you to feel fun and happy and comfortable. And like, this is not something to be concerned about in any way. And I know that sometimes that is a concern. Girls will come and they'll be like, can you just make sure like this looks right? Or like this doesn't move? Or if my lipstick like starts to wear, like, can you let me know? And it's like, that is my job, as long as as well as my job being taking your photos and knowing how to kind of direct you and everything. My job is also to pay attention to all of those things as a whole to make sure that like you look and feel as beautiful as possible. And so I
yeah.
think building that expectation ahead of time is really really great too.
Yeah, and I think that, like, reassurance of, like, telling them, like, yeah, like, I always tell people, like, if something feels, like, off or, like, you feel, like, uncomfortable by doing something, like, please let me know, like, I never wanna put
Mhm.
you into, like, a pose or something like that or
Totally.
direct
I
you a
say that
certain
too.
way
Yeah, I
that
definitely say that
is
too. Yeah.
yeah, because if you
If
feel
you feel
uncomfortable,
weird, yeah.
then it's going to show in your photos too. And I don't want to put you in a space where you at all feel uncomfortable because I want you to feel your best. I want you to feel like you're
Totally.
cute. I want you to feel like you're doing a good job. And I think,
Mhm.
like you said, like hyping up clients too, I think that's such like a big thing is like, I'm probably so annoying by the amount of times that I'm like, oh my gosh, so cute. Oh my gosh, so cute.
This is
Like you were
insane. You guys
saying,
are gonna love this. You guys look so cute. Like, please never
so
stop doing
good.
this. This
Like,
is your pose.
but
It's
like
really
that they want to hear that. And like the more that you're giving them confidence, then the more
hmm
confident they're going to be. Like the more you're
absolutely.
hyping them up and telling them, "Yeah, this looks great." They can't see themselves. You're the one seeing the photo. And if you're just being quiet, like they're like, "Is this good? Like is this bad?
If
Like
it's
how
just a
are we
quiet
doing?"
session, it's like we're just doing this
Yeah.
awkward thing in like complete silence. So I think, being behind the camera and constantly being like, "Oh my god, this is everything. This is so
Mhm.
cute." Like, or even sort of I've noticed sometimes when I'm kind of directing a session and I can tell that the couple's really just not they're just what they're doing is not something that they feel super comfortable doing. I
Mhm.
know to like switch it and I can always see the relief when I'm like, how about we do this instead?
Yeah.
Or how about we move a little bit of a different way to make this something
Mhm.
that's more comfortable for you? And I know that I can always see kind of that appreciation, and I think that's
Mhm.
really important to kind of be communicating throughout the session, like, oh, this looks good. Even sometimes it's like, that doesn't really look good. So the couple can feel validated as well that, like, yeah, that didn't look as good as it felt either.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, sometimes, especially with like when you're trying to get a little bit more like cinematic vibe and like you're having them move a lot or whatever, like sometimes you try out like, oh, this like looks good in my head. And then you have them like move into like a direction and it doesn't look like the way that you envisioned it. And like
Like,
I
this
think you
doesn't.
can kind of navigate that in a way that it's not like, oh, that looks bad. Let's change that. Like,
That looks
like
terrible. We're never doing that again.
like maybe don't say that because that might like kind of like make them feel, oh, we did that like wrong when it really had nothing to do
It's
with them.
not
It was
them.
just,
It's the
oh,
translation from my brain to reality.
exactly. You're like, that didn't look the way I was
That's
thinking.
not
But
that's
I just
not
really
really
usually like
working.
will be like, oh, actually, let's change this up. Like just changing it and redirecting it that way so that they don't feel like in any way that they did anything wrong or that they were being
Totally.
awkward or anything. Like I don't want them to think that in any way. So I want to keep it moving, and it's okay if I tried something I'm like, wait, that literally was not what I wanted,
That's
but
yeah.
let's just move on to like the next thing and like let me change this up so that it does look more natural or it looks better the way that I was kind of hoping for it to
And you're
look. And
not
so,
forcing them into something because you're too afraid to
yes.
say, "Oh, this didn't really work." And
Yeah.
knowing that they're uncomfortable and knowing that these photos, you're not wasting your time on that. Instead of just being like,
Hmm.
"You know what? How about let's move you here instead of over here. I think that might look a little bit better," or
Hmm.
whatever the thing
Exactly.
is.
Hmm.
So, within, at a session and prompting and posing and everything, what would you say is something that you really lead with to kind of document something in a more storytelling aspect? And kind of how you approach a session in that kind of way, along with like what you're telling the couple, but mostly kind of in your brain, like what you're doing maybe within your camera or the way that you're just kind of viewing the session as a whole.
Yeah. I love to think of it just like as a movie, like for myself.
Hmm.
And also, I tell my clients, like, hey, think of it more like a video. Think of it like this is your movie. Just so that they kind of know to kind of keep moving, or just to like they are allowed to talk. Like they're
Hmm.
allowed to like go in for a kiss if they want. They're allowed to laugh. Like they don't have to hold a certain pose. If I want them to do something again, I'll tell them like, yeah, if you do something cute, like I might ask you to do it again 2 or 3 times. Like it's totally
Hmm.
fine, but
Yeah.
feel free to move, feel free to think of it as a video rather than just still
Hmm.
poses. And I think that allows them a lot more freedom to like relax, and they feel like, okay, like I can talk to my person, I can be laughing if I want to
I
like
can do whatever I
do
want. Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, I'll direct you as we need so that they also don't
Hmm.
feel like, oh, we have to pose ourselves. Like I'll tell them, hey, I'll direct you as we need, but like feel free to move however feels natural to you.
Yep.
And then once they kind of like have that expectation in my head, I'm thinking of it like a movie. I'm thinking of like, when you watch a movie, it's like you're seeing like the far away shots, the wide shots, you're going in close,
Hmm.
you're seeing like close
That
shots, you're
variety.
seeing,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of variety. You're seeing it from like him looking at her, like that perspective, and then vice versa. Like you're seeing so many different things. You're even seeing like just little, I love putting in like little landscape shots or like little detail shots of like the
Yeah.
nature
Totally.
around, because when you see the gallery as a whole, that's what I'm envisioning is like the end product of like I want every photo to earn its place in the gallery. I want it to be
Yeah.
beautiful art by
Absolutely. Hmm.
itself, but when I see the gallery as a whole, I want to see variety. I want to see different,
You want to see the entire
angles.
story playing out as one whole thing,
Exactly.
as if you took an entire movie and you saw every still from it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, just like that. So I think that just having that mentality of this is like more like a movie scene versus I'm just taking photos, that like helps
Hmm.
a lot. And obviously if there's like a certain pose or something that they want to do, like we're gonna get that as well. But
Yep.
just kind of knowing that in my head of like, okay, we're gonna treat it like a movie. We're going to get all these different angles. I'm going to constantly be moving. I am not standing still at my sessions. I'm all over the
No.
place.
No. Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm running
Literally. I'm
around.
over
I'm touching
here. I'm
down.
over
Yeah,
there. I'm up in their face. I'm as far away as
literally.
possible.
It's always funny when like they're like focused on each other and I'm like really far back and then they're doing something cute. So then I'm like running in and then they like turn and I'm like right in their face. I'm like, oh, hi, sorry. I'm here
Hi,
too.
guys. Just
Don't mind me.
continue.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right here. Don't mind me. Just
They're like,
continue as you
okay.
were. They're
Literally
like,
that.
oh my God, please step away.
We're like,
Just like,
okay. I
they're
do
like,
love, I used to shoot a lot of prime lenses and I've switched to
mhm,
zoom lens. And I do think that has actually really helped with storytelling because I
mhm.
can be further back and zoom in. And that kind of helps not
Yep,
disrupt the moment if they're having something and I'm like right up in their face, like, oh, hello. Don't mind me.
literally.
So
I
that helps a lot.
also recently switched to a 28 to 70.
Hmm.
And a few months ago, I've had it for a while now, but I started using it as my main lens a few months
Yeah.
ago. And it has made such a world of difference because before I was primarily shooting on my 35 1.4,
Yep. Same.
and I just love her. She's my
Yeah.
girl. Like
So good.
she's my girl. I love her. I will love her until the day I die, but she is not what I reach for
Yeah.
anymore. I feel like she had her moment. Um
Literally same.
but She had her solid 4 years
She
of,
did.
use. She gets to retire now and just like hang out.
Yep.
But I definitely think that that's something interesting too, because there's a lot of things that go into directing a session to make it storytelling, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of things in camera that you're doing to make it
Mhm.
storytelling as well, whether that's like the aperture that you're shooting at,
Mhm.
or whether or not, like, I know, like, I don't know if you do, but I use an ND filter, and I think that's made such a difference as well within some of those kind of
Uh-huh.
aspects of like um a little bit more movie-esque when it's maybe more
Yeah.
direct sun or whatever. But the 28 to 70 has really made such a difference in that kind of storytelling aspect as well, because I can be really far, but I can get those more up close detail moments without
Mhm.
having to invade the space. I'm still allowing them and giving them the space to be organic, but I'm
Mhm.
also capturing as if I was like right here too,
Exactly.
without
Yeah.
having to be right here.
Without being literally up in their face and they're like, "Hello, how can I ignore you when you are 2 inches from my
Exactly.
face?"
This is not comfortable. This is not it. This is
No,
not it.
literally. And I think like what you just said, like holding space for them to kind of just be themselves. Like I think sometimes it's so easy to get really caught up in like, okay, I don't want there to be any dead space of like, I want to move from
Mhm.
thing to thing to thing so that they don't feel any uncomfortable
Yeah,
moment
there's
of
no
like,
lull.
exactly. But I think that actually is like also good because like sometimes the best photos come out of having you're leaving that space open. And so just like
100%.
slowing down and like really thinking, okay, let this unfold for a second. Like they're having a conversation, they're laughing, like maybe they finished doing whatever direction I just gave them, but they're still
Mhm.
like doing something. So like don't jump in and interrupt that. Like let that kind of play
Just
out.
let them be. We don't have to go from thing to thing to thing
Exactly.
to thing because you don't feel like you're getting that variety. I think that's
Yeah.
something that also is important, of allowing that space as well, because I think that sometimes as a photographer, you think that you want a lot of variety in your gallery, and to do that, you have to make them do a lot of things to
Hmm.
acquire that, variety. Whether, it's imposing or what they're doing or where you're at, but also trying to fit 800 million things into a 60-minute session. I think if I was the couple, I think that I would feel extremely overwhelmed. Instead of being
Yeah.
like, I'm going to have you do this and I want you to, maybe add on to it by doing this, but also do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to get permission. Like, if you want to kiss her, kiss her. If you want to
Yeah.
spin her, spin her. If you want to pick her up, pick her up. Like, you don't have to be in this box. Like, just be
Yeah.
free. Be you, be free. And so
Mhm.
I think that that's
Yeah.
also, really great to give space. I think that makes the couples more comfortable too, because you're allowing them to just kind of connect on their own without you constantly being in their ear, like, do this, do that, do this. Because
Mhm.
giving a lot of instruction, I think, is also overwhelming
Yeah.
too. If you're like, no, hold, here and then switch it to here and then do this, it's like, it can be a lot.
Yeah. It can make them feel almost more uncomfortable if you give too much. Like if you're just constantly like, okay, do this, do
Hmm.
that, whatever, stand here, and then they're just like, what? They don't they then they're overthinking
Like,
it,
what?
you know?
Totally.
I'm
They're
like,
like,
I want
what
them
am I
to
supposed to be
not.
doing now?
Exactly. So I think just like allowing them to kind of let them have their moment and like you can definitely tell like okay, now they're like kind of wondering what's next, then hop in and like direct. But I think just allowing them to have some space and just really slowing down. Also,
Hmm.
that helps me so much think better too, like think clearly of
Yeah,
what am I
totally.
shooting? I'm not just like mindlessly clicking 1,000 photos. Like
Hmm.
let me actually be intentional with setting up my shot, my composition the way that I want it so that it's going to be the best shot of this moment unfolding. If you're just kind of rushing and feeling like, oh, I need to get all these photos, like you're going to get enough photos. We all
We
know
can
you're
take a
going to get
breath. We can take a
plenty of
breath.
photos. Yes, you can
Totally.
take 10 seconds to step back, let them have a moment and think
Hmm.
through what you're going to do next, what you're doing in this moment, how you're going to compose this shot and the lighting and all of that. So I think just like learning to take a breath, slow down. It's okay. You're going to
Hmm.
have plenty of time. They're going to be okay for a second if you take a little pause. And I think just even like taking breaks to ask some questions or just to have conversation, like it gives them a mental break. It gives you a mental break for just
Hmm.
like a second to just pause and like have a little conversation, like ask them about themselves. And that usually like helps them feel more comfortable. And then when you hop into the
Yeah,
next,
literally.
like
Yeah.
thing, then they're like, okay, like we just had a little break. Like now we're like, oh, we were just thinking about this sweet memory that we had together and like we're laughing and we're in a good mood. Like it just helps the session flow so well. So I usually just try to like, do a few prompts or whatever and then like ask them a couple questions, have a
You
little
kind of chit chat, you
conversation.
kind of build that
Yeah.
connection with them. I mean, I know that when we did our session, we had numerous pauses. That was
We
me.
were just yapping. I love it though.
It was mostly a yap session over a couple session,
I love it.
and that's
That's my favorite though.
fully my fault. But also, I feel like even though you guys knew what you were doing, and you guys have experience in front of the camera, and obviously you're a photographer, so that's really helpful too. I didn't feel like I had to even direct you as much as like a couple who's
For
never
sure.
photographed before. But at the same time, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to shoot with one of my favorite photographers. Like, A, this is
Aw,
super exciting.
so sweet.
Like, B, I just love you. I've loved you for years.
Love
And
you too.
I just was like, I just wanna sit and talk to her. Like, I don't it's just we're just gonna chat, and then we'll get some photos here and
Yes.
there. And even I just remember, like, there was one point where, like, me and you and Moses, we literally just like I was like, I've gotta we've gotta get back to this because the sun's going. The sun we're not gonna have any light left. Or like I was
That's
like, I
so
gotta
real.
stop. I gotta stop. And I was like, I'll get to chat with her another day, and here we are chatting.
I
So
know. Now we're friends.
this
So this is great. I
exactly.
mean, but that led to that. But I think that like when I look back on our shoot experience with you, like I remember it was so fun and like it felt very like natural. Like obviously we were modeling for you, whatever, but it felt like a good time because it didn't feel like you were rushing us into a million different poses. You weren't like caring about like who we are, like wanting to talk. Like it felt like, okay, like she actually wants to like have a conversation with us, like, and it made it feel more comfortable for us. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in front of the camera in front of a few different photographers, and like I would say like the sessions that really stand out to us, like even if we're like modeling for something, like I think the ones where people take the time to like have a conversation with us, or they just like feel like they allow like more space between things happening, I think those are the ones where I feel like more comfortable and I just feel like way
Hmm.
more relaxed. So I feel like I can like, oh, like I'm enjoying myself. Like this is a good time. It's not just like we're here to get these certain photos and it's like boom, boom, boom.
And then
Like
we're
we have to
leaving,
get
and then
it.
we're done, and
Yeah,
I'm never talking to you again. I mean,
exactly.
I think that, I mean, heck, when we were done, we even all stood around. My family was with me because we were
I
on a
know.
family trip to
That was
California,
so
and
sweet.
we all stood around and we all chatted. My parents were in the car.
Yes.
Callie and Moses we were just all chatting, and I was like, we should let them go because I've chatted with them. I they should go eat dinner, but like you
I
build
love it.
that connection where you're not just like client and photographer. You
Hmm.
are friends because at the end of the
Yes.
day, I want everyone to be my friend. I'm like a golden
Yes.
retriever. I want
I love
everyone to
it.
be my friend. I want to talk to everybody. I love people, and I think that's really important for photography, and I've said this before, but at the end of the day, my why is people because I love
Hmm.
people. I love talking to people. I love everybody. Everybody has such a different story. The way
Hmm.
that the couple met, what they do for a living, just kind of them as a whole. And knowing those things, I think really gives you that space to document them like accurately and like, yes, this really feels like us because you know us because we're friends. And
Yeah.
not just, I'm standing there being like, okay, nothing about me. And I'm like, okay, like guys, like just, start kissing. And you're like, that's
Literally.
just that's just like, and you're like, I don't even know this girl, and she's, telling us
Yes,
to like, do some things. And it's like I just think that's really important. I
definitely.
so, along with storytelling, you have a very cinematic, nostalgic documentary style. Um, why do you think that people connect so deeply with that cinematic, nostalgic style? Do you have any kind of thoughts on that as a whole? Because, as photographers, I know that we are artists at the end of the day. We're artists and we want
Hmm.
our photos to feel like art, or at least I want my photos to feel like art. And so I know why I love it, but do you have any thoughts on maybe why, couples might gravitate to that more?
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of things nowadays are like curated. It feels so like, people want things to like, especially with social media, like look a certain way and,
Mhm.
present themselves in a certain way. And I think at the end of the day, people do want like real. They want things that feel very genuine and like, oh, that feels like us. That feels like,
Hmm.
you know, when I look back on these photos, they feel like memories. Like when I see
Totally.
that, like, oh, that feels like I remember that moment. Remember what it felt like. I remember us in that season of life. When they look back on that, they want to remember the emotions, not just, oh, this was a beautiful photo, but like this didn't really feel like us. They want
Hmm.
that real
Emotive
feeling.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah, the
the realness
emotion.
and the yeah,
Hmm.
totally. I
Yeah,
think
I
that that's
think
really important.
I like think back to like when you watch like your childhood like videos or childhood photos or whatever, and it's like, when your parents were snapping that film photo or whatever. I'm kind of old, I guess, if I have film photos from when I was little, and it wasn't because it was trendy, it was just because that was the
That
camera.
that was what it was.
Ah,
You're
guys, I
not
was born in
that.
the
You're
90s.
not.
Uh,
Yeah, I am. My parents had photos. They took photos of us growing up, and they
mhm.
always had a camera out. They weren't film, but my dad really does love film, and he
Yeah,
shot that all throughout high school and everything. And so, being able to look back on those photos and knowing that they weren't telling us what to do. We were
yeah, they're
just
like
playing
pose
in the
like this.
backyard. You need to stand just like this and look just like you're having so much fun playing in the backyard with the water hose.
Exactly.
It's like, no, they were like, oh my god, this is a really sweet moment between me and my
Hmm.
siblings or just us. And it's like, then they captured it, and I didn't even know it was being captured.
Yeah,
Half those things. It's like,
exactly.
and now we have those photos to look back on that feels so real and feels so genuine. And I definitely
Hmm.
think that couples now, you know, want that comfortability within their photos as well. So it's like, oh my gosh, you've really documented us as we are and not
Yeah.
just as you think that we should be.
Hmm. And that's not to say like you can't put in a posed photo here and there. Like it's
Totally.
still there's totally a moment for the posed
Totally.
photos, but I think overall people are gravitating towards like even just the resurgence of like film and just like all these older cameras, and they just love that feeling because it feels like, oh, like it just felt like, oh, I just snapped that photo in the moment. Like I didn't really pose it. I didn't really like plan out, this was just us. Like that's why like
It
when you
wasn't
look back
so
on like,
curated. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I think people just are chasing that feeling of nostalgia because it just like brings back all these emotions rather than just like more of like, which there's so many different kinds of beautiful photography. Like not to say that if you have more of like an editorial style or whatever, like they can still have lots of emotion, but I think people are really gravitating towards like just that like filmy cinematic. For one thing, who doesn't like to be the main character of their own movie?
Right?
Like,
No,
like
everybody, every single body ever.
yeah. So I think just like, getting those beautiful photos, but also having that feeling of like, oh, like when we look back on these, like we're really going to remember how it felt. We remember like how it was during that time of life.
Hmm.
I think that's kind of like the feeling that a lot of people are chasing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that what's so great about photography is that the community that we have holds such a space for all kinds of different photos.
Totally.
Every single person views everything so differently. And people are coming to us, hiring us for the way that we view the world. And I think that's really special. And knowing that every photographer has a different style and has a different approach and has just a different way of doing everything is really quite fascinating to me, honestly.
Yeah. No, that's
But
why
I
art is
also,
like so. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
no, keep going. You
Oh, I
go.
was
You
gonna
go.
say that's like what makes art beautiful is that we're all different and we all see things differently
Totally.
and we all have a different way of editing and approaching things, and that's the beauty of it is that we all get to be unique and like create
Hmm.
different styles,
Totally.
and they're all beautiful in their own way.
Yeah, and I think that there's photographers who all art is art. It's just art is so subjective and it's how the
Hmm.
viewer is seeing it. And I love that, as clients, you can go and you can search for, whether you're traveling and you want photos done or if you just want photos done near you, that there's such an expanse of, you know, variety within the types of photographers, and there's somebody for everybody.
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
there's somebody where you look at their photos and you're like, I want to be a main character in that. I
Hmm.
want that. And then there might be somebody that's more creative, and it's like, oh my god, this is such like a throwback, this is so retro, this is
Hmm.
so colorful, or photographers who are more on like the neutral side of things. If you're a neutral girl, you have a photographer who leans more neutral, or if you have somebody
Yes.
who, if you love you know, colors, blues and, those neon colors. Like there's a photographer that I love and gets so fun and creative with the kind of like the technicolor side of things. And
Oh,
I
I
think
love
that
that.
that's literally awesome. I don't know how she does it. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like it just is so special that we all, you know, are artists in our own way and they're different. But I do think people are gravitating more towards that natural kind of organicness because
Hmm.
they're like, I know that I'll feel comfortable doing this.
Right.
It's like they can see themselves inside of these,
Yes.
they can see themselves in your work, even though they have
Yeah.
not done that yet. So
Yeah, it looks more like they just feel like I think they could be more natural. Like they won't feel like, oh, we have to pose a certain way. Like we could kind of be ourselves, or we could do an activity that feels like us and have that captured. Like there's a lot of freedom in that kind of style, I feel like, where people can kind of just, they really see themselves, like you said, of just like, oh, we can like have our favorite date at a coffee shop and like get photos of that.
totally.
Or we could be at the beach and run around and like that feels like us. Like I think that's like one thing that really stands out with like the cinematic and film kind of style is just, yeah, it feels very just like, oh, you're doing your day-to-day life kind of thing, and then that's being captured, and it's just like
It's
when you
being
look back
captured
on it.
exactly as it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
So with your style, and you live in beautiful San Diego, which makes me so jealous.
You got to
Would
come
you
back.
say, I know, I need to. I really want to. I
Amazing.
really somebody should bring me to
Yes.
California and I'll
Someone
capture
book
anything.
Sophie.
Somebody book me for anything, literally.
Yes.
I'll come. Um would you say that, because of the area that you live in, but also the type of photography that you have such a different variety of locations that you're shooting at, whether that's,
Mhm.
on the beach or on the cliffs or up, kind of in like a mountainous field or even like the ferry session that you just did not too long ago. Do you think that there's a certain, like when you have clients come to you, are you kind of directing them on deciding on what they want? Or do they come to you and be like, I loved your ferry session. I want that.
I think it's a mix. I think most people, when they're inquiring, well, I can't talk, inquiring, when they reach out, they're kind of already have like a vision. Like they will sometimes like reference, like, oh, I saw this specific shoot that you did. Like I loved that. That spoke to me. I kind of want to do something similar.
Mhm.
I would say like maybe 90% of my shoots are at the beach just because it's San Diego. Like I get it. That's where people want to shoot. Like it's
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm a beach girl, so I 100% understand. So I would say like a lot of people just gravitate naturally towards doing beach shoots.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have people do reach out, and it's kind of like they're like, oh, we're open to your ideas, your suggestions, like if you have anything creative that you've been wanting to do, and then I'll totally give them ideas. And even if it's like they've seen something that they like on my page and then they're kind of like, oh, we want to kind of do this, sometimes like we'll kind of talk about like, okay, how can we make it more personal to you? Like maybe
Mhm.
there's a prop or like a setup that we want to do. Like, yeah, we're doing sunset beach photos, but like maybe we're gonna do like you jump in the water at the end and we're gonna do some sunset swim photos, or maybe we're gonna
Mhm.
do like a little like picnic setup or something like that, just to make it a little bit different and more unique, of like what speaks to them and make it a little bit more
Mhm.
personalized.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people kind of they'll see like kind of an idea or inspiration of like what they want on my page, and then they're coming to me mostly I think for like the beach sunset shoots are like
Mhm.
pretty much my main thing. But
Yeah.
I love doing all different kinds of stuff. Like I love variety, and I love even when it is like a sunset beach shoot to do like maybe we're doing different outfits, we're doing something fun, like that was something you and I talked about, like of just like
Yeah.
doing fun outfits, or like
Mhm.
that changes the whole vibe of the shoot alone, just what you're wearing, but also even just like the
100%,
different
yeah.
time of day, or like, there's so many different things that are different elements that will change the whole vibe of the
Mhm.
session. So you can kind of still maybe pick the same location, but it could feel completely different than this person's, which is great. Like every session is
Yeah.
unique and different. Like we never want to
100%.
just like recreate exactly this session, because that's not you. That's not your session. Like your session is yours. Like we
You
can
want it to
draw
feel unique to
inspiration.
you, yeah.
Exactly. And so yeah, I think a lot of times it's mostly people kind of coming in with their idea, and then we get to like build off of that, and like, maybe they don't realize like, oh, we could incorporate props. Oh, we could shoot at midday instead of sunset or whatever. And so I do typically like send a session guide, and that kind of like also helps them like just think through ideas of like, here's some outfit inspo. Like it doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be like, this kind of outfit. It could be anything you want it to be. It could be whatever you feel comfortable in. Here's prop ideas that we could do, or activity ideas that we could do. Here's different locations. Here's like what different times of day like could be. And so all of those things, I'm just trying to give them the options so that they can kind of, think outside the box of like, oh, it doesn't have to just be this. And so I think that's
Yep.
like always fun, and just hearing their story, and like sometimes like they'll share something like either just in our messages back and forth or in their initial inquiry, like sometimes they'll share like, oh, like we met at a coffee shop or whatever, and I'm like, okay, we should incorporate coffee, or we should do a couple photos at like a coffee shop, or like the one you met at, something like that. Because then I'm like, okay, the whole shoot doesn't have to be like that, but like an element of that feels so personal to you and your story. And they're like, oh, we didn't even
100%.
think about that. So I think just I love it being like a full collaborative process with my clients, and like from start to finish of just like kind of talking through ideas together. And then when it comes down to the day of the shoot, like, them just being excited and ready, and like me being able to like help like direct them in a way that feels unique to them and just what feels comfortable. And some people are really loud and bubbly and like playful, and some people are a
Oh
lot
yeah.
more just like calm and still and quiet, and both are completely great and fun and awesome. But I don't ever want to make more of like a shy quiet couple like, okay, we're going to be doing all these crazy whatever poses.
No,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
that's
Yep.
like something that as a photographer we have to like be aware of, and like kind of read the room of just, okay, what is their vibe, what is going to make them most comfortable? Are they silly and fun and playful, and they want to do a lot of like running around and jumping and like silly poses and fun outgoing stuff, or do they want to be more like still, calm, like kind of leaning into that like more gentle posing? And so I think
Mm-hmm.
just being able to like read your clients is a really important skill to have and develop over time,
Yep.
of just like seeing what's making them comfortable and what brings out their best side so that they can have photos that really speak to them.
Absolutely. I think that as photographers, something that's really important is knowing how to be adaptable to the environment that you are,
Mm,
walking into. Because I think that everybody, some couples will walk into a session really having the expectation that they really want the more playful side of things. But then you as a photographer kind of have to read that and be like, well, maybe they would work better with some more reserved kind of quiet
yeah.
intimate prompts. Something that I've really been loving lately is kind of an activity based perspective. So
Hmm.
whether that's like I have a shoot coming up that they're going to be playing like cards at, or drinking coffee or reading, some of those more activity based things where it's like, oh
Hmm.
well, maybe we can have a little picnic and we can read. And I think that you know also makes it so much more personalized to the couple, where you can come to them and be like, what is your favorite thing to do? What do
Yeah,
you love? Do you love quiet mornings in a park reading? Maybe you're bringing your coffee and you're having a picnic. Do you wanna, are you the couple who goes to sunset and you go and jump into the ocean and, play in the ocean when the sun's setting? And I think that being able to incorporate those makes, everything so unique. So you're not just with the same
mhm,
couple in the same place doing the same exact things all the time.
totally.
Um, I would love to hear just from the way that your photos are, how you kind of approach composition and lighting, and maybe how to make every session, even if they're kind of on the same location, whether that's like a beach or whatever. If you have anything that you do to kind of composition wise to make that session unique, whether that's using the space of the location or just anything in general.
Yeah. I think one big thing that's like a game changer for me is going for like a little walk before my shoot. Almost every time
Mm-hmm.
I try to do this, just because even if it's a shoot location, I shoot at the same locations a lot because,
Yeah.
there's the same similar beaches, and um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just at them a lot. And so it could get repetitive if I don't choose to kind of see it with fresh eyes. And so I think just clearing my head and like going on a walk beforehand kind of helps me think, okay, I've shot at this location, 100 times, but have I shot at this spot at this angle? Have I tried using like this rock formation like for them to like stand on or
Mm-hmm.
sit on? Like, have I tried like having them like lay down here? Like, I think there's different ways to see the same location if you're kind of coming
Mm-hmm.
into it with fresh eyes every time. So I love trying to go for like a little walk, even if it's just like 15, 20 minutes. It
Mm-hmm.
just like clears my head, calms my nerves because it's
Totally.
still got some nerves,
We're so
but
so nervous.
we
Like
still get nerves.
literally.
But that definitely helps, just being outside in the fresh air, and then just like being able to like see the location in a different way, and
Mm-hmm.
just and with the beach too, because I shoot there a lot. um it changes depending on the season too. Like certain beaches,
100%.
there's like, way more sand at this time of year. There's like way more rocks exposed this time of year. The tide is high today, so we can't shoot there, whatever. So it does kind of keep you on your toes of like, okay, it doesn't usually look exactly the same as it did the last time I shot here. So just kind of like going in knowing like, all right, I'm going to try to use this section of the beach today. Like I'm going to try to shoot with this, area.
Mm-hmm.
Also just like not being so afraid of like direct light. I think I used to always be terrified of shooting with
Me
like no
as well.
direct light. And I was like, oh, that's like a huge like no. But I think
Mm-hmm.
there are a few sessions where I just got creative and I like chose like on my own, like I'm going to learn this. I'm going to try
Yep.
it out and play with it. And now I love direct light. Now it's like,
There's a
give me
session.
all of
There's
it.
a there's a session of yours, and the couple is, gosh, maybe they start out in like a truck and then they go to the beach
Yes.
with the black. She has a black bathing suit on.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
The
That was so fun.
the colors for one of those photos, chef's kiss. They are
Thank you.
10 out of 10. Everything that I could ever want in colors in a photo, for one.
You're so sweet.
B, the lighting, like I could immediately tell that those were like midday, either mid
Mhm.
morning, mid afternoon.
Yep.
But I thought, that was I think you posted those a little bit before I decided to kind of dive into testing out more midday lighting, and I saw
Mhm.
those and I was like, I'm sold. I was like, that
Yay.
is it's terrifying because you're like, oh my god, the sun is like, or the
Yeah.
harsh shadows or the things, and it's like, you know, maybe getting creative with the lighting as well. So along with that, do you have a favorite? Like if you had to like actually pick and not
Mhm.
just say like, "Oh, I don't have a favorite." If you had to actually pick a time of day that you've been loving shooting at lately, what would you say? What would you say that would be?
Ugh, I feel like overall, like if I'm setting up a creative shoot for myself this year, it's been like a midday shoot. Or like when I say midday, it's more just like bright light, like
Yeah.
whether it's late morning or kind of early afternoon. Like that was like the ferry shoot that I did. Like we did late morning. I loved that. The beach shoot that you were just talking about, that was a creative
Mhm.
shoot that I set up for myself, and that was like late morning. I did another shoot with like a friend, and it was like the one with the apples and the picnic basket.
I love
That
that
was
shoot
like
so
afternoon.
much.
It was so
Yeah.
fun. It was so cute. But that was like also like afternoon. And so I think I've just been like really loving like that more. I think it's because I've shot a lot at like sunrise and sunset, which both are beautiful. I love the soft colors of both of those things, but it's just
Mhm.
been fun to like play with a different kind of lighting because
Totally.
it's not something that most people would kind of pick, like, oh, I want my photos in the bright afternoon. But
Literally in the middle of the day with like the
yeah,
brightest sun
you're
possible.
like,
And I'm
wait,
like, sign me
isn't that
up.
when
Out.
you shouldn't?
I
Yeah,
think that
no,
that's
it's
something that
different.
goes along with like, as somebody who, like, if you're starting out in the industry, there's a
Hmm.
lot of, I'd say, kind of rules, or supposed rules, and a
Sure.
lot of that is like not shooting in the middle of the day, not shooting with direct light, only having the sun kind of behind your couple or to the side of their couple. And I think
Hmm.
that once you realize, like, why am I following these like stupid rules? Like, there are no rules, it's art.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let's be fun. And I think that there's another level to it where it's a way for us as photographers and creatives to really challenge ourselves, because it's like, this is not easy to shoot in the middle of the day.
Hmm.
Getting, whether that's the colors right in camera when you're adjusting your white balance or your
Hmm.
white balance grid, or the settings, making sure that their skin is properly exposed. And I think that's a really fun way to challenge ourselves and be like, you know what, this would be really fun to kind of get out of the box. And you don't see, I think we're seeing that a lot more now, the kind of midday shoots. But I also
Totally.
have been gravitating towards a little bit of
Yes.
a little bit of a brighter, sunnier kind of midday vibe. I just posted a session yesterday and we shot that literally at noon.
Oh my gosh, I
And
loved
it
those.
was,
They were
thank you. I'm
so
obsessed with
pretty.
those.
They're so cute.
I really love those. And that was the first one that I've done where it was like I really played with like the full direct sun. And
Mhm.
there was a little bit of some clouds, so that did help. Like the sun wasn't like
Yeah.
really directly on them, but it definitely was a challenge. It was like, how can I, really approach this in a way where it's going to challenge me creatively, but also because of the things that we did in the different lighting, even though it was midday, I think that there's so much variety in that gallery. Because if you guys go and see them, they're in front of a tree, they're under the tree, they're in a field, and it's like you're moving around the entire expanse of like the location that you're shooting at, and you're really using all that space instead of kind
Mhm.
of staying in that one spot. But it was really fun to be like, oh, here's the sun directly on them. Here's the sun like under the tree. They did I really liked the way that the light was kind of like the speckles of light. And that
Yes,
was
and, like,
really
the
fun to
leaves.
kind of,
So
yes, it
pretty.
was it was amazing.
I
So
love it.
I'm right there with you with the midday shoots. I think that
Yeah.
I need to be better going forward because I'm more comfortable with it now, kind of really going in depth with a couple and being like, what do you gravitate towards? Do
Yeah.
you like when you look at particularly my work? Do you like these photos that are more at sunset, or do you like
Mhm.
these photos that are more midday? Because we can shoot at any time. Like, this is not, this lighting is not that big of a deal to me.
Mhm.
But that's if you like that. Like, are
Yeah.
you gonna like the way you look possibly?
Yeah.
With the sun beating directly on you, or do you want that
Mhm.
kind of more softer, like ethereal vibe where it's everything's soft with that golden um like light and just that softness, or do you mind that kind of like fun harshness? And so I think it's
Right.
really fun to play around with that. So
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think kind of going back to like the idea of thinking of it like a movie, like in a movie, it's not all just backlit. Like it's not all just like,
100%.
the same. So I think that kind of has helped me like creatively just like if I'm shooting at the same spot, like let me change up just the lighting. It doesn't have to be for all of them. Like some of them can
Mm-hmm.
be side lit, some can be backlit, some can be direct. But I think just kind of having that idea of like let me change it up, it gives a very different look depending on how you place your subject, like how the light's hitting
100%.
them.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun to, like you said, get a lot of variety just by even changing what direction you're shooting. And so that's been fun. And yeah, even like if I'm shooting at sunset, I'm like, okay, maybe we're gonna shoot still a little bit more like some direct with the sunset light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think that's like it's so fun to like play around with light. That's like a whole other aspect that you can play with is lighting.
Even if your session is just, maybe it's not necessarily something creative, or if they have any props, you can even just get fun with the way that the lighting
Yeah.
is. And I know, back to kind of being adaptable as a photographer within, kind of the attitude of your couples and what they like. I also think being adaptable, being like not worried about whatever time of day it is, or because I've even shown up in the past years when I've been afraid of that direct light. I've shown up to a session, it's been so bright, and I just didn't know what to do. I just
Yeah.
was like, I just don't even know. Like, it's too bright. Like, I just don't like
Yeah.
this. And now I think that's where that growth comes from, where it's like,
Hmm.
now I'm adaptable and I don't care about lighting. Lighting does not
Yeah.
concern me. Like, I
Yeah.
can do. I can do whatever, like, because I'm comfortable
Yes.
now because I've done those things, and I've really been like,
Sure.
well, this is how I like to shoot midday, whether that's even just sometimes getting those colors right. Like the session that I just shot, actually, I mean, the session that I posted yesterday, I
Hmm.
shot those way warmer than I should have. I just was, I was hot for one.
Yeah.
Like, it was not, it was kind of hot out there, and I was like
It's summertime.
stressing. I was stressing. And so I shot those really warm, and for a little bit, I was sort of struggling with editing in the colors of them, because I was
Hmm.
like, I'm not, why am I not liking this? Like, what is this that I'm not liking it? And I was like, well, the sky's really blue, but you can't really tell it's blue. It has almost a purplish hue. I was like, maybe they're too warm. And I bumped that white balance way down. And then I
Yeah.
was like, that's the one. I was like,
Yes.
that's it. And so that's also really important to know kind of the way that you like things
Mhm.
while shooting at those different times of day. So you're not like, oh my God, what do I do? Why do I hate this? And then
Yeah,
you're in post, you're struggling. Um,
for
but
sure.
I think that, you know, for storytelling, particularly because I just feel like you're so good at that. Your photos have so much emotion wrapped around them, like every single one, whether that's like you sent me I had her send me some photos so I could incorporate them into, you know, so you guys could see them. And I'm sure, obviously, you'll have already seen them, but she has a photo and it's a rain shot and it's in black and white. And that one, literally, when she sent that to me, I just stared at it for a minute and I was like, "This is
Oh, thanks. That's like
this is
my favorite
everything."
photo I think that I maybe have ever taken because it was
It's
just
so there's so much emotion wrapped around it. There's so much just like it's just great. Like
you're so
I have no
sweet.
words. I have
That
no
was, I
words.
think, like maybe my favorite shoot I have ever done. No, I think it was my favorite shoot I've ever done. Worst weather I have ever shot in was a literal storm. It was pouring rain. This was on the
Yep.
Oregon coast. It was
Mm.
pouring rain. It was so windy. Like, no
Oh my
joke. Like, I
god,
think it was
no
like
doubt.
45
No
mile
doubt.
per hour winds, like 50 mile per hour. It was so windy. It was freezing. It was like 40 degrees. It was
Oh
so
my
cold.
god.
And this couple, we had both flown out. Like I was up at the Oregon coast. They were up there on a trip. I think it was their anniversary trip.
Mhm.
And she's a photographer too. Her name's Bruna. But they both were just so like, we're doing this. We are going to have a great time. Like their mentality was just like, we're embracing that
We don't
fact
even
that
care.
yeah, they
Yep.
were like, this is the Oregon coast. This is the crazy weather. We're on this trip. We have to take the photos today. Like we're doing this, whether or not there was nobody else on that beach when we shot down on the
Oh,
beach.
I'm
It
sure there
was
was not
no
a
one.
soul. Nobody.
It was nobody. Nobody was crazy enough to be down there, but
You
they
were
were
though.
so fun. Like literally, I love them. Like they were just laughing. They were having the best time. There's a video, I think I posted on my story before, but like the umbrella turned like inside out at one point because the wind, like it just was so windy. But they were just like their joy is just you can see it when you look through that gallery. Like they
Yep.
were just so filled with like joy and they were just having a great time. I was having a great time. I'm like wiping like raindrops off the lens every 5 seconds and like can barely see what
You
I'm
needed your
doing.
own umbrella so you could be like
Totally.
holding the umbrella, holding the camera.
I
I've
think
done that
Moses
before. That
was
wasn't
there with
easy.
me too, and I think he had an umbrella over me at one point, and then it was just so windy. I was like, this is literally like the
Just
rain was
never mind.
sideways. Like it was insane.
Just
So
never mind.
I was just like, we're
Shout out
embracing
Moses.
it.
Shout
Shout
out
out
Moses
Moses.
for amazing. Moses, if you're listening,
He
you're a king. You're great.
number one husband.
You are the biggest bestest trooper. I remember seeing you you did a content day in Hawaii last year. Was it last
Yes.
summer maybe?
I think it was 2024.
Was it 20
So,
wow, was it
yeah, I
2024?
know. Yeah, I think it was. Crazy. I know.
Um and you posted a few photos or videos that Moses was like in the background of. And I was like, we love a supportive husband. We
He
love it.
just is always he's literally the sweetest. Like anything that I need, especially like when it comes to like crazy shoots like that or just like content days, like he's always like literally just when we did the Hawaii one, we had like rented a bike and like we first of all when we rented the bike from the shop, it like I didn't think through the rental car that we got and so we had to pick it up the night before so that we'd have it for the sunrise shoot. And like the bike, shout out to the bike shop owner because he shoved that bike into the car. I was like, this is not going to fit. He shoved it
This
in there.
isn't
And
going.
I was like, there's no way that we're going to be able to put that back. So literally after we did that shoot in the morning, Moses was like, I'll ride the bike back to the shop. So he like just rides the bike back to the shop to return it like while we're like getting coffee and stuff like literally just all those little things. I'm like I could not do this without him. He is the best. So shout out
He
Moses.
shout out Moses. You're the best. We love you. You I think that's something that's also so great. Particularly for client experience because if there is, you know, if Moses is there with you, it's like, you know, the both of you are just so amazing and you're so kind and you're so genuine and it's not like, you know, oh my god, this weird photographer is here with her weird husband and it's really uncomfortable. Like we, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you as a whole, I think that's something that's also really important for people who are getting photos done, particularly for me. Kuda and I, we are young and we are, fun and young and in love and all the things. And I think that I know those things firsthand. That's a big reason why I don't do families, because I don't have a family. I'm not a mom yet.
Yeah.
And so my comfort zone is couples, because
Mhm.
at the stage of my life, I am just a couple,
Yeah,
and
for
so I
sure.
think that that's something, you know, fun that, Moses is, along for the ride with you. And I just love whenever you post all the, the things and he's just like in the background.
I love it. And when I first started out, like he would always come with me to like all my shoots because I was like so nervous. And like now
Mhm.
he usually doesn't come with me anymore, but like on trips and stuff or like content days, he'll like be there. And I'm like, I love having him there because yeah, he's always just, we did a content day one time with another photographer and we like wanted the seagulls to fly. So he was like throwing like pizza crusts in the background.
Yep.
So the
Hmm.
seagulls are flying. I'm like,
You wouldn't
you
have been
know,
able to do it without him. You wouldn't have been
literally,
able to do it without him.
I love it.
I really love that. I think that you guys are so great, and I just will never forget being able to just hang out with you guys, because that's what it felt like. We were just hanging out. Yes, I was taking photos,
Loved
but
it.
like, I need you guys to come here, and
Honestly, yes.
we need to do it again.
We need an East
Um,
Coast trip. We've done the whole West Coast, so it's time to check out the next
I
coast.
think that you guys would really love, um, like the mountains, like kind of Asheville.
Yeah.
I think that'd be something different for you guys. But even just like, even though it's a beach and also live near the beach, I think you guys really would love the Outer Banks. I think that seems really
I would love
like
to
you
visit.
guys too. I think
That's
that
on
you
my
should.
list.
I think you just need to make like a trip up and down, and then wherever you
Yes.
stop at, I'll meet you. Cause
Perfect. Okay. Done.
I'll just meet you wherever. I'll
I
come.
love
We'll
that.
figure it out.
Well, we
Um,
love the photos you took for us. I look back at them all the time. They're so sweet.
I
I love them so
I
much.
love those. They are truly some. Just because I think I got to shoot, I think it's awesome when you get to go to different places and you get to shoot at those
Yes.
locations.
Mhm.
I really didn't take that for granted, because I'm coming to a place where I don't know anybody. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
established here in any capacity, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't, I mean, we connected because we did the photos, but like, I wasn't, I had followed you for a long time, but we weren't like mutuals or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that like knowing that even as photographers going to any and all different parts of the world, that there's the opportunity of other photographers being down to come and do something with you, so you are
Mhm.
able to create there. Because how old was I'm 20 now, and what that was like
You're
two-ish
so
years
young.
ago. I know. I know.
I love that for you. You make me feel old, but okay.
I don't want to make you feel old.
It's
Um,
fine.
I was like I was like 17, I think, or
Yeah, when
18.
was
I think
that? It was a while ago.
was it 2024?
I think it might have, yeah, I
I
think it might
think
have
it might
been.
have been. I think that I was 17 and I was about to turn 18. Don't correct me if I'm wrong.
We can go
Um,
back and check later. We'll fact check that later.
yeah, we can fact check my age later. But like knowing that like I was only we're gonna go with 17, because I'm pretty positive I was 17. Like, who gets to say at 17 that they got to like go to California and shoot like on the cliffs with like
Yes.
an awesome couple? Like, that's such a it was such just an experience. And I know that for me as a photographer who, has been trying to find my kind of space and my how I want my footprint to be, it was really something that I won't forget, because it's like, wow, I really got to do that. It's
Mhm.
something that really stands out. And I think that having those shoots as photographers that really stand out to you, and it's like, this is exactly what I want to do, and knowing that I got to do it makes it even more awesome. And knowing that every single shoot that I get to do is so, like, genuinely so important. It's like sometimes we can get lost in the thick of things, and it's like certain things possibly can get repetitive, but it's like at the end of the day, people are truly coming to us and choosing us for who we are. And every shoot is important. Every single shoot is
Mhm.
special. Every single shoot's unique. And I know that client experience is really important to me, and I'm sure that it's really important to you. And, is there anything that you really, maybe that's even, obviously we talked about kind of before the session, but is there anything after the session or during the session that you do to even kind of reassure your couples that, like, you want this experience to be like the best possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going back to just like making sure that like I'm having conversations with them like throughout the time, like making sure I'm hyping them up. Like I want them to
Mhm,
be as comfortable and as at ease as possible. And so
mhm.
just constantly making sure that like, we're having communication and like genuinely listening to like what they're saying and like making sure that I'm like sharing because they ask me questions about myself too and I get to share
Yeah.
about like me and like obviously they probably have been like following me a little bit too. So like they're seeing a little bit about my life so they know a little bit about me, but I get to share about myself too. And just yeah, just having like more genuine conversations throughout the shoot
Mhm.
so that we do feel like when we're leaving, when we're saying goodbye, like I'm like, oh, I'm leaving my new besties, like
I
this was
know
so
you
much
want to leave
fun.
like your friends.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
like, can I just keep you for like another 5 hours and we just hang out and keep shooting? And they're like, no, we have lives and we have to leave.
Like
But
we don't even need to shoot anymore. Like we can
yeah,
go,
just
let's
go
go
hang
grab
out
some
now.
dinner. Like we can
Yes,
just go grab some dinner
guys, we
together.
can keep this
Like
going. Yes.
we the vibes are here. Let's keep the vibes going because I love you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think just that and yeah, just like when I'm communicating with them, like I don't want it to ever obviously I want it to feel professional, but I also want it to feel like very genuine and like, like when they're sharing like their vision with me beforehand, like I'm excited with them. I'm asking them questions, like send me your inspo. Like I want to see like what kind of like
Give
what
me all
speaks
the
to you.
details.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think just like really trying to make them feel like they've known me for a long time because it's not an easy thing to meet a stranger and 5 minutes later like you're trying to go in for a kiss like in front of their camera while they take a picture of you, like
100%.
that's
Yeah.
a scary thing. And so as comfortable as I can make them, like even when I show up to my shoots I don't have my camera out, like I have it in my bag. I don't want them to feel like okay we're immediately jumping into taking
Hmm.
photos. Like I want them to feel like hey we're meeting up, let me like talk to you for a second. How was your drive? How was your day? Like
Yeah,
what's happening?
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then just like talk with them a little bit as I'm like getting my camera out, getting set up, and then giving them a little bit of a prep. Like, okay, here's kind of like what the plan for the session, like this is what we're kind of gonna do, like this is what it's gonna look
Hmm.
like, so
Yeah.
that they don't just feel like we don't really know what's happening. I think them having an idea of like the plan and me just like showing up, not feeling like okay, I'm ready to go, like we're jumping straight in, like kind of easing into it just helps them feel a little
Hmm.
bit more comfortable. And then they're like, they're having fun. And I always tell them
Yeah.
too, like, it's okay to have nerves. Like, I expect you to be a little bit
100%.
nervous in
Yeah.
the beginning, like, but by the
Hmm.
end, they're running around like cute little models. And I'm like, see, you're not awkward. You just had to
You
believe in
had,
yourself.
you genuinely, I tell this to couples all the time. I'm like, you guys literally had nothing to be nervous about because you
Yeah,
are rocking it. And I think
literally.
that it's so, I always do my pre-session spiel. That's what I
Hmm.
like to call it before we
Yes.
start, where I just am like, and I feel like honesty is always the way as well. And I'm
Hmm.
always like, guys, like this is not, obviously this is not normal, this is not comfortable, this is not your normal. Like even for me, I'm still directing you as people who have never photographed before, so we're all in this together. I'm
Yeah.
learning with you essentially.
Yeah.
I might learn like what you like better, or I might be able to, like, once you really get to know your couples, you're like, I can tell that they just really don't like that. Like I
Yeah.
can just, I'm right there. I'm like, and then they're like, oh my god, thank you, please, thank you for moving me because
Yes.
that was not it. And it's like, I just think that knowing that your couples are comfortable is the biggest, like, sort of personal praise. Like I had
Hmm.
a girl, she left me a review. This has been a few years now. It was the highest compliment that I feel like I could ever receive. And it was like from
Oh,
the very moment that Sophie stepped out of the car, she was immediately our friend. And I was
yay.
like, that is what I want. I want you to immediately feel like we're friends, that this is not a
Yeah.
business transaction that I am just completing. Like, this
Hmm.
is meaningful, not only because I'm getting to capture your story, but along with, like, I'm getting to do my dream. Like,
Hmm.
this is my dream. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And knowing that I
Yeah.
get to be here and I get to do this for you, is nothing that I take lightly. And I think that's really important
Absolutely.
get across to your couples as well. Like, this is important for me as much as is. I'm
As
gonna
for
start
you.
over. Thank
Yes.
you. You can complete my sentence for me because I no longer can
Yes.
talk.
No, I feel that.
Clearly.
I definitely think, yeah, they can tell when you're creating out of a place of passion and excitement and just gratitude for having this job, because it's a dream job. Like, yes,
It is,
it's
yeah.
hard. Like, it has its moments when it's difficult. For sure, any job does, but at the end of the day, like,
100%,
we're
yeah.
so blessed to be able to like get to capture love stories, get to like celebrate with people in like their most wonderful, exciting moments of their lives, their milestones. Like, it's so special. It's a really unique job to be able to, and like when you get to see people like from engagement to their getting married and then they're coming back from maternity photos,
Oh
like
yeah,
it's so
100%.
cool. Like, what other job do you really get to like have that
Grow with
long
people.
term, yeah, experience of like walking through life with someone? And so it's definitely like a really special job, and like something I never want to take lightly, because that's their precious memories and moments that they're
Yeah.
trusting me to preserve for them for lifetime. So I think you said it perfectly. Yeah, I love
And
that.
it's genuinely like for me, sometimes, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking about the shoots that I've done or the shoots that that are coming up. And I'm like, these are genuinely like, they're just so cool. Like being
Yeah,
able to take, as photographers, I think I said this in my last episode, but we're in our heads so much and we have such an idea and expectation of what we want out of our work. And I think that it's so fun and it's so just genuinely awesome to be able to be like, oh my gosh, that looked exactly like what it looked like in my head. Like
yeah.
taking something, whether that's like an idea that you had, like I did a session a few months ago now, and it was a waterfall session. And
Oh
I
my
had
gosh,
it in my brain.
I love
I
those.
loved
Yes,
I love those. Those
so
were those
good.
were a hit. Actually, everybody loved those, and I was like,
Those were
"Ah, you
so
guys,
good.
you guys love those as much as me. Thank you for validating me."
That always feels good.
Um,
You're like, yes,
it
I'm
does.
glad people
This
are
was this
loving it.
was as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Yes.
No, they were
Yep, you're
so
right there with
good.
me. I love those. Thank you. I had wanted to do a waterfall session for the longest time. That waterfall is actually really not that far from me.
Mhm.
And so I just like it was about finding like the right time and the right couple and kind of just like some logistical things. And I ended up shooting with a couple that I really love, and we did like a two-parter. So we did like a session at this lake with like a picnic set up, like the vintage kind of
Cute.
radio vibe and everything. And that was like the first start of the day, and then we went to the waterfall. But I had it in my brain for so long for what I wanted it to look like, and I wanted it to feel really movie-esque. And I feel like when I got to editing, and then even just kind of culling, I was like, these are exactly what I want. Like these were, as an
Yes.
artist, like this literally translated, like it's like you took what was in my brain and you just made it happen.
So
And
good.
it's truly the best feeling, and it never gets old. I think that's something that I just love about this job, is that it never gets old. There's always going to be a new idea. There's always going to be something else that you're kind of chasing almost, whether that's like a certain feeling or,
Mhm.
a certain kind of vibe that you're going for within, for me in North Carolina, the different seasons. Like, oh my gosh, I have so many
Yeah.
ideas for fall. So I have genuinely so many ideas for fall. We'll see if
I'm
they all
so
happen.
jealous of your fall over there. That's
You
like
need to
one
come
thing
for
we're missing.
you need to come. I'm telling you,
I need to.
you need to come
A
for
fall
fall.
trip, yes.
A fall trip. And so it's like being able to get creative even just with the seasons and having so many ideas, whether that's like we were talking before we started actually filming, and I was telling you how I bought all of those props. Like I
Yes.
have so many ideas and creative ideas with just props, which is so funny to me that like a prop can get me excited for a shoot. Like I'm
Yes.
an old book sold,
Yes.
a newspaper that's all brown, chef's
Love
kiss.
it. The
Like,
best.
and I literally like even just like old like suitcases, like knowing that I'm
Mhm.
going into a vintage like antique mall or
Yes.
something and being like, I'm here for an old suitcase, and it's like, why?
I
I'm
know.
the
I
only
literally
one.
have a
It's just for me.
collection of like 3 of those in my room right now because, you just
Yep.
need an old suitcase.
You know what's really crazy? And just I'm just gonna, because I'm not over it. This happened like 2 days ago. I'm still not over it. I'm probably never gonna be over it. I was in a store, a vintage store. They had the most perfect suitcase. It was perfect. Like you just it was um brown, like this lightish brown leather. The inside of it was like this perfect green. It was like the most, I loved it. There was also one that was like this blue color. It just was almost like a deeper blue, right? Okay. I take it to the front. There's no tag on it, okay? This woman, she looks me dead in the eyes and goes, "Somebody came in here and bought every single suitcase in the store."
Well, why are they still sitting out then?
That's a good
Tempting me.
question. That's a good question. And my soul, you could have, if
No.
you could have thought my emotion was like, like knife to the heart. I was like, what do you mean every suitcase? This place is really large. And there's
Yeah.
like a suitcase on every corner, under every table, suitcases layered. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
what do you mean they bought every single one? And then I was like, can I have their contact information? Because if
Can I
they
buy this
have
off
all,
of them?
or can I buy, like, whenever they're done with them, can I take just like a little tour around and purchase some? And it's like it's such a unique request, and I'll never be over it. And I think that that was such a miss. So I'm really sad that
Oh,
I
that's so
didn't
sad.
acquire it.
It's like in front of you. Literally, you're about to buy it, and they're like, "You can't buy that." You're like,
I
"Oh,
didn't even know the price of it. Like at that rate, I probably would have
yeah."
paid anything for it. And I just was like, there was like two of them, and it was like, you just crushed me. Like
Ugh,
I
that's
saw it
so
and I was
sad.
like, it was like up at the top in a corner in like the back room. And I was like, Mom, I was with my mom. I was like, Mom, that's the one. And she was like, mm-hmm. And she got it down for me.
Oh
And
man.
I was like, didn't know how much it was, obviously. And
Yeah.
if it was like a ridiculous price, I probably would have not
Yeah.
acquired it. But like, I just was like, I didn't even have the opportunity to. And I started getting like my ideas started flashing in my
Yeah.
brain. And then she was like, no, every single suitcase in here is sold. And I was like,
That is wild. Like, what is this person doing with all these suitcases? Is my question. Are they
can
also a
I,
photographer?
can I come? Can I,
Yeah.
can I be involved? Like,
What
is
is
this some kind of
happening?
vintage suitcase, like exhibit? Like what?
Yeah, what is that would have been my next question is like why? Why do they have all these?
I genuinely was so like confused that I didn't
You're
even
just
have
sad at
like,
that point.
I just was like, okay, and I went on with it. I didn't ask any questions, and I really really regret not being like,
That's so
can you
sad.
tell me more? But I do think it's so funny that like at least my mom thinks it's really funny. Hi mom, I know you're probably watching this. That she says to me all the time, like, we literally had this, like my grandfather, like her
Yeah.
grandfather, like, he had the same thing, and this then was not it. And now like
Yeah.
you
But now
you want
it's
this? And I'm
vintage.
like, I do want this, yes. And I think that it's so funny, like the props that we go for, particularly for the more cinematic, nostalgic style. It's like just those props can really change like a whole
Yeah.
vibe of a session too, getting kind of creative, even if it's just like, maybe it's just like a little radio, or even like, I think that you did session, it's been a minute now, you did a session and they were like playing chess, I think, or checkers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Just
I was like, loved that session. I was
yeah.
like, who would think to play chess on the beach?
Yeah.
Callie.
Just a little something.
Callie
Yeah.
would Callie would think to play chess on the beach. And so I
Just gotta
just,
have a little something, a little
you
fun
gotta have a little
activity.
you gotta have a little prop closet.
Yeah. No, it's so
There's
good. And
nothing
I think
better.
like what you said of just like the ideas started flowing from just a prop. Like it's so funny how like I think when we look for inspiration like outside of like not just Pinterest or not just like looking at other people's work, like when you get outside and you go for a walk, like I feel like that's when a lot of my ideas start like coming to my
Oh yeah.
mind, or like I see a cute vintage whatever like prop and I'm like that would make such a cute shoe, and then all the ideas
Hmm.
start flowing. It's like those are great ways to like look for different inspiration and creativity outside of just scrolling, because I think it's so easy to like look at other people's stuff and then it's like, oh, it's great to get inspiration from that too, but like it's also there's so much inspiration around us from other things too that you can pull without even like scrolling on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever. But and like also setting up creative shoots for yourself just like so you can
Yeah.
practice and play. And get used to like shooting in different lighting situations, or try out like using props more often, or just even like how you make your clients comfortable. It's good to practice
Mm-hmm.
that on just a fun like model shoot, like practice directing people in a certain way, or talking to them, or like making them feel comfortable, or slowing down. I think that's
Yeah.
why like creative shoots are so important and should be a huge part of your lifestyle as a photographer. It helps your creativity keep growing, and also just gives you so much space to practice and try out different ideas and have fun and get content that is in your head, get it
Absolutely.
out of your head.
Totally. I'm a creative shoot photographer until the day that I die. Like
Yes, me
you could
too.
not pry a creative shoot out of my cold dead hands. Like it's so I think it's so important to keep our kind of just our creative spirit alive, and knowing that like um it's something to really challenge yourself with. I've mentioned that
Yeah.
probably too many times this session, but like knowing that like you did a session and you sent it to me in one of the photos, and it was with horses, and then
Oh
they
yeah.
have like the vintage suitcases, and
Mhm.
then she's
The
got
vintage suitcases.
the vintage suitcases, and she has like the scarf on her head. And I think that something that I thought about when I saw those was, clients, they have everybody has their things, they have their hobbies, they have their likes, their dislikes, everything, and in knowing that you can incorporate that to a session is really important. But also knowing that, okay, well, maybe they're comfortable as a photographer, like knowing how to do this as well. Like
Hmm.
directing with horses is
Yeah.
not easy. I've done a couple sessions with horses. That was it was so hard.
Yeah,
And
it's tough.
a client can be like, they are comfortable with this. And so it's like, oh, I have a horse. Oh, we have horses. We have
Hmm.
whatever. We have barn animals, donkeys. I've seen people just get creative with all
Yeah.
kinds of animals. And it's like having that variety in your portfolio as well, being like, oh, I can work with animals. I can
Hmm.
do literally anything under the sun. I think also shows your clients your diversity in the way that you shoot, and knowing that you're literally down for anything, because you
Yeah.
can be down for anything or you can feel down for it, but like your clients have to see that, and I think that's where
Yeah.
creative sessions really come in handy, where it's like, okay, they're really like down for doing genuinely anything under the sun. Or
Hmm.
I would never think to go to that certain location or do that certain thing. I have so many people come to me and they're like, we really love creative things. We really love the creative sessions that you've done and kind of getting out of the box of that. And even if it's as simple as like kind of creativeness in what they're wearing, whether that's like
Yeah.
pairing colors together. I think clients, don't always see, I mean, obviously they don't see things the way that we see things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like, they're like, oh, I don't know if this will look good. And I'm like, no, that will look good. Or
Hmm.
if you pair that with like, add a little red boot, or you have a cute little gingham top, or some kind of texture, it's like, I am happy to literally, like, I have so many ideas. Just ask me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely down for anything. I'll do it all. Like, but
Yes.
like you can do it with me. Like, and
Yeah.
I think that it shows your diverseness, and it's like, okay, huh, I can do this, or we like doing this. I wonder if she'd be down to do this too. I mean,
Yeah.
even like I think that you've done like sailboat sessions too.
Oh yeah. So fun.
And even that's something like, do we want to bring a photographer onto our boat?
Hmm.
Like, is that something that they're going to be comfortable doing? And it's
Right.
like, yes, yes, any day of the week. Like, I'll take it. I'll take over
Yes.
anytime.
Yeah, sometimes they just need to see inspiration, and like whether that means like they are like, oh, actually like that lighting like that they shot in, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, I love that they incorporated this prop like you said, or like with horses, and like they might not be initially thinking, oh, I can do that, but when they see those things, they're like, wait, I love that. I could see us doing that, or I could
Mm-hmm.
see us doing something similar but doing this because this speaks to us, or this
What
is
we
our
like,
story.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think it's so important to get outside the box and have fun and be creative, because it's not only good for us as photographers, but it's also great for them. Like it's good for your clients and your future clients, and it's so fun to just be able to play. Like you're doing this as a career, it's good to have time when you just have no expectations. You get to have fun, you get to experiment, you can try things, get outside the box, do things that maybe make you a little bit nervous, but you're like,
Hmm.
okay, let me just try it. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. Like I tried it then. Or maybe it's like your new
Yeah.
favorite thing. So you never know.
Absolutely. It's like, oh, maybe I'll never do this again, or maybe I'll
Mhm.
do this like at every session forever. Sometimes
Right.
it's happened with me for certain poses that sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I really want to try this at a
Hmm.
session because I think it might take up too much time.
Yeah.
But like to kind of figure out the logistics of the posing or whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
and then to go do it, at a creative session, have that space. It's like, oh, I really love this pose. I really like
Yeah.
doing this, and now I'm gonna do this every time because I know how to get the couple into the position of doing it without having to
Exactly.
figure it out and then them be like, I don't think she knows what she's
Yeah.
doing. Like I don't think I don't think she's are we sure? Are we sure
Yeah.
about her? So, and I think
No,
that that's
literally.
something also you've done content days as well. You've hosted content days, and I think that really gives space for that too.
Definitely. I think doing that and like even creative shoots, like one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned from doing creative shoots is like whether it's hosting one or just doing it for myself is like my style of like directing because when you're starting out you literally don't know like unless you're doing
You
like a
know
mentorship
nothing,
where
yeah.
someone's telling you like here's how I
Hmm.
direct like you got to figure out what feels good for you and what feels good for your clients and so like I've learned that I love like I don't know if there's like a real term for this but I call it like prompt stacking. I'm sure you do something like this too. Like I give them like multiple like prompts at once. Like I'll be like, okay, like if
Yeah.
we're at the beach, like I'm gonna have you run towards each other and then I want you to like pick her up and spin her and then I want you to like
Yes.
take her hand and then like run down the beach. And then they're gonna, have the structure of like, okay, we kind of have an idea of what we're doing,
Hmm.
multiple things flowing into the other, and then it often leads to them just doing whatever feels natural too. Like maybe then
Yeah,
he
totally.
picks her up and spins her and then when he puts her down like they're laughing because like they're in the sand and like they're kind of
That's the
falling
best.
but then
Yep.
there's like
Hmm.
a cute photo there and then they run off and whatever. So I think doing stuff like that definitely helps like the session feel more natural and flows really well. And that's like something that
Yep.
I kind of figured out by doing creative shoots because I had to figure out my style of how do I like to direct people? How do I like to have the session flow? And it's like sometimes when you're put on the spot with paying clients, like you want the experience to be really good for them, but you don't want to like be figuring things out on the spot. You want
You
to,
don't want to miss those important moments that they're
yeah,
expecting because
exactly.
you've set that expectation from your portfolio of like these are the moments that you're
Exactly.
essentially kind of guaranteed to get because well,
Right.
at least I do. I'm sure that you kind of have like the same structure for your sessions a little
Hmm.
bit. It's like here are some kind of I have like my main points that I like to do and then from there I
Yeah.
kind of build on them and I definitely do like the prompting stacking
Hmm.
where I'm like, I want him to sit down and I want you to be, maybe he's leaned up against a tree, maybe he's just sitting and I want you to stand in front of him and maybe I want you to twirl or run away or run towards
Hmm.
him. And then you kind of come and maybe you lean down and then you kiss him. And then maybe, when you're leaned down, he kind of tickles you and he pulls you onto to you and now you're laying on him. And then it's like from there, you just kind of, you
Yeah.
build and you build. And I think that's what also makes the storytelling aspect really important because you're
Hmm.
truly allowing that space for those things to happen
Yeah.
while also having that kind of like base for them to go off of. It's like here's what I the main points that I should do, but whatever
Hmm.
else happens, it's like that was awesome. And
Yeah.
typically those are my favorite moments when I'm like do a
Yeah.
bunch of things. Like how about you go do everything under the sun, but like
Yes.
also do whatever you want. And then
Hmm.
they do that and I'm like we're done.
Yep.
That was all.
Yep.
I'm good now. We've got it.
Right.
This
And then
is
that's
it.
when they're
This is
all
a 10 out of
cute and
10.
they do their own thing and I'm like they're being themselves and they're just like I'm like they don't even need me. Like I don't even
They,
say anything. Like they're just being cute.
right? They just keep doing what you're
Yes.
doing, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing,
Literally.
and we can just
Yes.
continue this. We'll just continue what we're all doing as
Yes.
a whole. I
Exactly.
remember that being something at your session that we did. You guys were just doing it, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is awesome." Like
Oh. Well,
I'm not even
you
having.
were great. You were great. You were giving direction. You were hyping us up. I was like, she's making us feel so good that we're doing a great job. So you were doing your job well. So it was
Thank you. I
It was a
appreciate that.
effort.
It was a group effort, and I don't know, I think it's so fun to kind of also, make your sessions fun in that way where it's like you can joke with your couples and be like, "Yep, yep, you're good. Just keep doing that. Like
Yep.
you are, that I could genuinely not ask for better for this this
Yeah.
prompt or this pose. So I think that also makes the client experience really nice when you
Totally.
are kind of silly with them too. If you're making them be silly, but you're behind
Mhm.
the camera, you're just kind of like this stiff board and you're like, that was
Yeah.
good, even though you're like in your head you're like screaming and
You're
squealing.
like,
It's like you have to actually scream and squeal because
yes.
I
Be
think it's really
annoying.
fun
It's
to have
okay.
it's okay this is the purpose of our podcast, to tell every
Yes.
single person ever that it's okay to be extremely annoying, and it's okay to
Yes.
be extremely weird,
Yep.
because that's just at the end of the
That's
day.
how they feel comfortable. I'm like over there as I'm explaining what I want them to do. I am by myself acting out every single thing that I'm
Yep,
like to do, but it's just me. And then they're just watching me and they're like, okay, if she can do that by herself and
by
be weird like
herself.
that, we can do this better.
We've
So
got this. We can execute this much better. I always tell couples too. I'm like, um, something that I've had to say, kind of just like in my spiel, which is, sometimes I talk out loud to myself while I'm shooting. And if I sound like I'm talking to myself, or if I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, that's good, or no, let me do this. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. And like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, I'm not here. I mean, like, I'm here, but like, I'm not
don't
here.
mind
Like, I
me.
might, but don't mind me. Something that I also have to pre warn. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. It's happened to me one too many times. I have fallen like at sessions,
Oh
like
no.
face planted.
Oh no.
And so I have to tell my couples now, if I fall, if I trip, if I tumble, if I take a tumble,
Just
just
keep
keep
going. Good.
just kind of turn around. Yeah, that didn't happen. Let me just dust my knees off and get back to it. Yeah, I
That's so
am.
real. I definitely have almost stepped off a cliff a couple times, shooting up by the ocean. I'm like, oh my gosh, so cute. I like look down, I'm like, oh, they're like looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I didn't almost just step to my death. I'm fine. It's
Die.
good. We're
I didn't
good.
almost just like die. I had a couple one time. We were walking like I was in the middle of the two of them. I think I was a little bit ahead of them, but
Uh-huh.
I had my camera in my hand and my ankle rolled. And the
Oh
both of
no.
them luckily just like the second I went like down, they both like grabbed an arm and like shoved me up, and I was
They
like,
like rescue you.
this is so embarrassing.
You know what? We're just really in the moment. We're just locked in. We're focused. We're just not paying attention to what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're only paying attention to what they're
Nope.
doing. As long as they're not
I'm
rolling
just
and told
making
me stepping
sure.
off cliffs.
Exactly. And I'm like, so if I fall, please, ignore it. And I swear, I can't remember what session it happened at, but I did my warning. I'm telling you, I warned everybody at every single session, like without fail. And I fell. Like actually. And I was like, I told you. Like I'm not making this up to be fun or quirky or like to make you feel more comfortable. Like this is genuinely me warning you that I might fall. Please just, and we had a whole moment over it, and I like actually face planted, and
Oh no.
then I face planted at another session, and that's actually on video,
Oh
and that
no.
was
Girl,
yeah,
you need
that's
to watch where you're stepping.
I don't know what I need, but I need something, and
That's so funny.
and then I don't even care about falling, but like it's the camera, and
Yeah,
I'm
you're like,
like
no, no,
trying to
stop the
like
camera.
I'm trying to like I had a session just cause I'm just gonna tell it because we're here and we're talking about my clumsiness. This couple, they were luckily walking in front of me, but we were at a park and we were up a hill and they were ahead of me and they did not see me. Oh Lord! But I face planted, like genuinely,
Oh
like
my
face first.
gosh.
But I like turned because I didn't want to like break my camera.
Yeah.
And I literally had to take a moment. I don't know. They never turned around. Thank you. Like I'm so glad they didn't see me like face first in the dirt. But I was
No.
like, this is genuinely so embarrassing.
Oh my
This
gosh. You need
so
some knee
yes.
pads, some protection.
I need like a helmet, I need elbow pads, knee pads, I need like a full protective suit
Yes.
because
You're like,
but
"Are
it's
you
like
okay?" You're like, "I'm just here. I'm ready for anything because I will fall."
and I guess I'm just so in the zone where I'm like, I'm just going and going and going, and then it's like bam, faceplant.
That's funny.
And yeah, it was really humbling to say the least to see it on video, like high definition. Like my dad was like
Okay.
videoing this session for me, like on his camera, like actually, like, and I
Oh,
was like,
nice. Just best
yeah,
quality. Perfect. Love that for you.
yes, I am. I have a reel actually that I made, and it was like this was what I wanted, and then this was versus what I got, and the versus what I got was me like eating dirt, and I'm gonna send it to you when we're done here
I
because
need to see it, and I will sympathize with you, but also it will be great. I
you
love
can
that you got
laugh.
that on camera.
You can laugh. It's okay. I
I feel
laugh
like it
at it
might hurt
now
my heart
too.
a little bit, but I'm glad
I
that you
mean,
were okay.
face,
I'm glad your
face.
camera was okay.
I tripped over a bush and I like folded and I like caught myself. But yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
girl.
any photographers, if you can relate to falling or possibly coming to a near-death experience off a cliff, you're not
You know,
alone.
we do it all. We do it all for the photos.
I'll do anything for a
Anything for
photo.
the photos.
Anything at all, I'll do it. I mean, like you can't.
Literally. You got to get the
You
shot.
can't. I got it. Whatever it takes to get the shot, I'll
You
do
got to get
it.
the shot.
And it doesn't matter how stupid I look or genuinely anything because I'm just going to do it. So,
True. Yep. Nope. I feel you there.
well, I'm so grateful that you decided to, do this with me and chat with me today. And I just love you so much. And I'm so glad that I got to just take a little peek inside of your brain and how you approach your, photography. And I'm just so grateful for you.
I'm thankful that you asked me. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it so much. And I love you. You're
I
amazing.
love
And
you.
you're so
I love you
talented.
more. Thank you. That's like the biggest, highest compliment coming from you. And I just um am so excited that we got to do this together. And now you're gonna have to come here,
I
and I'm gonna
know.
have to and I'm gonna have to go there, and
Yes.
we're gonna
Back and
have to
forth,
make it work.
coast to coast. Yes.
Coast to coast. We're gonna have to have like a once a year get together so we
I love
can,
that.
you know,
Honestly, yes. I'm 100%
because
down for that.
you're just the best. So thank you,
Right back
and
at you.
thank you guys for watching and staying this long. If you stayed this long, thank you
No.
because this is a long. She's a longie, but she's a
It
goodie.
was.
So yeah, this was Real Talk with Soph, and thanks for watching.